So today we are here with Father Charles Carl Reynolds, so we're going to call him Charles. And my name is Melissa Wood, and I have with me Annika. Hi. Two of us have the privilege of working as interns at the Barbados Museum Historical Society.
As you look around, you can definitely see that you have kind of honed in on a certain era.
Yeah.
And a lot of what's shown, this activism and agency, you also see it in modern day art. So I was wondering if that's ever somewhere you see your collection expanding or building another collection around this same theme and the importance of this activism and agency in Black portraiture, but diving into more contemporary and modern art.
Well, one way of understanding the history of art is seeing it as a tradition, as a passing on. And I think what I hope will come out of this exhibition is seeing one of those periods of a staging point, and one of those periods of a foundation of where later traditions and contemporary art. So contemporary artists could draw on these images to reference in their own work, rather than say, so there's a rootedness, and I think that's one of the things that's often not understood so much about West Indian history, Black history, is that there's this centuries-old rootedness to it. It's not a contemporary experience. It's generations old.
That's actually what Annika and I were talking about, that you could kind of see this exhibition as like a precursor to the volume of Black portraiture that's happening now with contemporary art and major contemporary artists, and that the links that can be made from then, and to be able to uncover those portraits, in fact, and to make those links are like amazing.
I mean, it becomes also a technical question for artists. How do they portray different complexions, which is not easy to do in the form of a print.
Right.
But of course it can be done, and I think what you're seeing here is how artists approach that in a way that is realistic, is true to the subject.
And even in terms of how the artist also acts as an agent for representation. So if we're talking about the individuals being portrayed within the portrait, now it's also the artist acting as an agent is saying, okay, this is how I want to represent this particular individual. And they too have a say in how persons are being seen.
You can see that conversation happening between the sitter and the artist.
Yes.
And then there's the patron as well, and then there is the possible market. But then we're part of that as well, because we're the audience as well. How are we receiving this image? What do we see?
Okay. Do you have any questions for us now?
Well, you were talking at the beginning about how interesting it had been to come across the stories of these people. I mean, are there any that you simply had never heard of before?
One that's jumped out to me, and to this day is probably still my favorite story, was Ellen Craft. It's a very small piece that you have part of a larger print, and learning about that was very eye-opening, in the journey that she went through escaping slavery with her husband, posing as a white male planter herself, and then traveling across the country and being able to escape all the way to Philadelphia. And it's a story that I thought you would know. That it's something that you'd expect to hear before, and I'd never even known about it. And it was very eye-opening and very inspiring. And I think that's what a lot of this exhibition was for me personally.
And it's a great privilege to come across the story again, isn't it?
Definitely. It's this woman was one person in such a large group so long ago. How would I now come across that? It's just such the chance of her story being kept and told, and that's what a lot of this art is. So.
Well, for me, there's several people that kind of stood out for me. Akiana was a really big one. But then there's also stories of persons portrayed within the exhibition that we don't know. We don't know what their story is. That their story is a mystery. You think of the larger pieces of the exhibition.
Yes.
very curious about who they are, what their life is like, but the research still needs to be done.
Yeah.